first time ever.
Hear you loud and clearly.
And it was going place.
That stuff's great.
But the game is not a roguelike.
Boomer shooter.
Bang.
Hello, this is John St. John, and you're listening to KEEP in the Keep, bringing you all the hits from the finest in the world of gaming and entertainment. Now sit back and relax as the drowned god Cthulhu lulls your mind with the tastiest talk in town.
Welcome to another chapter of In the Keep podcast. I'm your very own prophet of the drowned god, the Motherlode. The Keep is a collective of gaming enthusiasts compelled by the drowned god Cthulhu to frag and jib one another into oblivion for all eternity. Alright, we got Robert and Nico back on the podcast. It is so fucking great to get a chance to sit down with you guys again. I'm really happy with the showing that you guys made for Realms Deep. Just before we started, I was telling you that the video, the little interview that we did was fucking hilarious. But how have you been? How are you guys feeling about the game and the response you're getting now that it's in early access?
Well, it's been good. We've been busy doing new content, but yeah, everything's gone great.
Yep, a lot of good feedback, to be honest. So far, I really like how this early access thing is going. There's legit some really valuable things that just really rise up when you just get more people to try out the game, and it's just something a lot of stuff we never even thought.
Yeah, it's always crazy how when you get out of that little echo chamber of the small playtesting community, how many more things people notice just by sheer numbers.
Oh yeah.
What are some of the things that were pointed out or that you thought were worthy of making changes or looking into?
Well, there's been a lot of the basic stuff, exploits in levels. Some collision isn't working, that kind of shit, which is very easy to kind of fix because you have to fix it. Then there's been some feature things that people have been giving feedback on, they don't like how some weapons work or the scissor system or that kind of stuff, which has been more difficult to respond to because you have a certain vision on how the game should be. But then you can also see their point of how it doesn't maybe work the way you designed it to work.
Yeah.
But it's been good because we always get better at what we do, or at least I hope so. So
that was my only real criticism, was that it's not like the Sisu system wasn't cool. It's just that there wasn't a lot of incentive to use it all the time. So then I kind of would forget to use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You mean in the older builds or?
Well, just in the most recent time that I played it, when you guys gave me beta access, I played all the way through the campaign, and that's how I felt. Now, if you've made changes since then.
Oh, so yeah, you haven't played probably afterwards?
Well, whenever the last time that you and I sat down and talked about how I had just played through the whole campaign, I don't know how long it's been, but that's the last time that I played through the whole game.
Oh, well, we did actually some radical changes. It's kind of funny. You probably wouldn't expect, to do some really radical changes like what we did. So, kind of late before the early access. But hey, the thing wasn't fun, and something had to be done. So we just had to do it. And of course, the balance is. Oh, that's all. I was fully expecting the balance to be all over the place, but it was pretty good. But it still needs some honing here and there. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No, you're good.
Okay,
you go ahead.
Well, because the time when you tried it, I'm pretty sure it's the fact that we had not implemented the new armor system to the game. When back where you could where armor drops were they were you could find armor drops in the actual levels themselves, and now they have been removed.
So what you're saying is that I am out of date and I should go play it again.
Yes, you do own the game, so
How embarrassing! I showed up to a fucking podcast with I showed up to a knife podcast with a gun.
Yeah.
I'm really doing a terrible job of saying what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
no worries. But hey, it is good that you like. I think you brought it up because it was an issue, and I like to think we got rid of it. I mean, it's not like it still can happen on normal difficulty, but if you go on hard, like if you don't play the game how you're supposed to play, you might have some really tough time.
Yeah, it's an interesting process of like subtly teaching the player to play the game the way that you intend them to, without making them feel like they're forced to do anything in a specific way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been having a lot of conversations and design talk in general about how much we should like force the player to play in a certain way, because at some point it might get annoying if you feel like you don't have any kind of leeway in the choices you make. It's like here's the optimal choice and it's the only one you wanna take because it's optimal. And I feel like we have a pretty good balance right now.
Mm-hmm.
Since the new scissor system, you basically get armor every time you kill enemies with the scissor weapons. So and also you can't really get armor from any other source. So it's kind of encourages you to use it in a way where it still isn't mandatory, because you can dodge basically all damage there is in the game.
Yeah.
So if you're really good at the game, you don't really need it, but at that point it becomes kind of like, you don't need to use all the systems in a game if you're good at it. That's the base thing, I
At
think.
least on the normal difficulty, because
Yeah.
on harder difficulties, because I start to like drop the amount of ammo you get from the level, so you kind of have to use it at some point, so you can't like it also like it gives you that little bit of extra ammo you need to get past certain areas.
Yeah, that too.
And I like the way it is now.
It's a good hybrid. I mean, I'll have to like really go back and unembarrass myself and get my hands on it and make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about before I pass any real judgment. But I really did enjoy all the new levels, especially the train level, and I really like the giant bears with the tanks on their back. That's fucking cool. Like there's a scene in your trailer that I remember distinctly where it's like you see the shot where you like make an explosion and the bear like flies off the side of a building.
Yeah, I just put it there for shits and giggles, to be honest.
Such a perfect little shot though.
I know, right?
And yeah, like what's been the I guess like story wise, like how are these bears coming into play? Like how do you justify that? Because like Hrot, right? They have all these like weird fucking enemies that I actually theorize that every enemy in Hrot is actually an animal. Even the people looking things are probably just animals in suits because they're all covered up. But what's what's on the docket?
Okay, so first things first. Did you know that there's a guy in Finland who actually like he's called the Finnish Bearman. He actually has
Bearman.
Like he legit has a bunch of bears living with him. And he's just like, he walks among them very casually and so on. And like, he lives with them. They're like dogs to him, to be honest.
We had a guy like that who was American, the Grizzly Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it didn't work out for him.
But yeah, like, if you take a look at the bears, like, it's like, like, with a lot of the enemies, you probably noticed that okay, these aren't ordinary bears. Like ordinary bears don't have fucking metal plates stuck on their heads and fucking know how to use cannons and shit like that. Like that's what the hell. But it all really ties to the cyberpunkish element that we have like underneath a lot of this stuff. So that's basically why the bears are domesticated in that sense.
It's like, is it cyberpunk? Like, it feels weird because you don't usually like. There's no precedent for like a cyberpunk world set in like a snowscape or Finland in general. Like cyberpunk, usually that makes me think of like Tokyo or Blade Runner.
How it is basically for us, it's like well, first things first, you probably would expect like to see cyberpunky stuff in a fucking post-apocalypse that much. Like if there was nothing before and now there must be some reason to it, and there is a reason to it. It's like it's a thing we don't want to spoil yet, to be honest. But like there is a reason. Like there is a reason why everything is the way it is.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
I also really enjoyed your very Wolfenstein-esque boss fight. Though it is much cooler, it's still like it's very clearly derivative and kind of a throwback to it. It's a good fucking boss fight too, man. Like just really, really fun.
Yeah, we really tried to make the boss fights like actual bosses and not just more difficult enemies or just some Quake shit where you need to press levers in order to like telefrag an enemy. And yeah, I really like too how it turned out. Of course, there were some problems with it during development, but yeah, I think it's good.
Dude, the first time that I played the proper Quake campaign, like that Shub Niggurath fight, I spent hours and hours shooting it. Like I really just didn't. The message did not come across that I was not doing it right. Like if somebody hadn't explained it to me, I would have never got it.
Like I had something similar. I didn't spend hours and hours, but like it took me a while to realize how to just beat it. And I was too also just like shooting at it. I was like, what the hell? What am I not getting here? It was a bit obscure, but hey, like even though it was really obscure and probably a lot of people think it's really bad, at least it was. At least I remember that.
Yeah, for sure. It'll always be engraved in my memory. But it wasn't the boss fight. It's the 800 shamblers I had to kill to get there.
Yeah, exactly. I agree on that.
The ammo was not really quite there for it either. So what else has been going on? Robert said he just graduated earlier this year from university, and you guys are both like, I don't know, like this is kind of the first time that you've had a game like available to the public. Like, how are you just generally feeling? Do you feel like real game developers now, or?
Oh, that's a hard hard question. I don't know. I see all of this still as kind of an experiment.
Yeah.
Because, I don't want to get into like nitty-gritty economics or anything, but the game sold well, but it hasn't sold that well that I could just stop doing everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they accumulate over time, the sales. But still, I don't know what I'm gonna do after we finish the game. So I'm not sure if I would call myself a like real developer yet.
You gotta double down and make Black Hill.
Yeah. I don't know, but we'll see. At the very least, I'm feeling more hopeful of like actual career in game dev than I was like a year ago, let's say.
Yeah.
So that's good.
do you think you'll always want to work on first-person shooters, or like do you have like other genres that you like to
No.
dabble in?
No.
Okay. Quick answer.
Yeah, because I'm actually kind of working on a like very cerebral puzzle game at the moment.
Mhm.
It's been mostly like just thinking about it and writing down cool ideas. I've been making some small programming on it, but it's been mostly just design documents at this point. The next game the next two games we've been thinking about doing together are first-person shooters, but they're very different from this one.
Yeah.
So, yes and no. About staying in the genre.
I think we surprised some people with in the key because we do have one game that is truly a boomer shooter, but Call of Ragnar is very much not, and I'm glad it caught people off guard because I wanted it to be kind of a big deal. But that game is like amazing to me, and I really, I'm kind of burnt out on just boomer shooters. I'm not saying I don't love them and I don't enjoy playing them still. It's just like, there's other things out there that I've found quite interesting, and it seems to be an RTS renaissance going on too right now, which is really cool. With like It Stares Back and Frozenheim and stuff like that. There's so many options. I'd really hate to just get bottlenecked into one genre.
Yeah, and it's also like from a developer standpoint, not only from like a game player, because I of course play a lot of retro shooters, the old ones and the new ones. But you just don't want to get stuck on a genre or a style or something, because however much you like it, it's gonna get boring at some point.
Yeah.
So I think we're both gonna try to do something else for our next project to not get stuck.
What are some of the games that have kind of stood out to you recently?
From the retro shooters or anything?
Just in general, like what do you like these days?
Well, recently I've been playing through the Myst series.
Oh yeah.
Kinda because the new version came out, or what is it? Remaster, remake, whatever. Haven't bought that one yet. I played the old ones first. I like to kind of play games in order of release. Just a thing.
Me too. I know that to the outside looking in, it might be a little silly, but yeah, I feel exactly the same. I really enjoy like getting the whole experience, even if some of the journey is painful.
Yeah, yeah. It's been like that with Myst. It's not like they're bad games, but there's some questionable design choices. Let's say.
I just added the. I didn't even know there was a Myst re-release. Like that's from August. Yeah, so it's on my wish list now. Thank you for pointing it out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird to see like things you would expect to be figured out by the point of the game's release still being in there, like some fucking awful waiting puzzle shit where you need to press one lever 15 times to get something to work, and just obscure hints. But yeah, it's also fun because some of the puzzles are really good, and you get that really good sense of like eureka or that kind of stuff. So I've been barreling through them. I'm right now I'm playing the 5th one, which is like the last one of the series. So not a lot left.
It's interesting. David Szymanski recently was like kind of like doing a polling tweet where he was asking like for interest in like a game like Myst, like if people would be interested in sort of a modern kind of spiritual successor to it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if that means he's doing it, but it would be really cool. I mean, I think that
Yeah, it would be
That-
really cool. I think his like sense of atmosphere would really work in
Yeah.
that kind of a game.
he's one of those guys that just really loves Stalker, which usually those people, and there's a lot of developers who are just obsessed with Stalker that seem to have a really good grasp on setting an atmosphere. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if, did you play his game, The Pony Factory?
I haven't played that one, but I've played the older like horror games. The what was it?
Oh,
Moonsliver and
Moonsliver.
Fingerbones was fucking great.
Fingerbones is fucked up, man.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's a good game, but it's just like disturbing the story
Yeah,
of that. And
yeah.
the Wolf in Autumn, that one was another one that I was just like, David, are you okay, man? What's wrong with you? But yeah, he seems like a pretty happy guy. I can't hold it against him.
yeah.
I don't know if you heard, but we actually did a podcast with him that was, I was like, we can talk about anything you want except for Dusk. We're like not talking about Dusk at all. So,
Yeah. I listened to parts of it at least.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you, man.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some cool ideas about like game dev, and of course, well, his games are pretty interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Miko?
Yes.
You're holding out on me.
Yes, about what?
What games have you been playing? What have you been into?
Well, to be
Nothing?
honest, it's funny that you mentioned the RTS Renaissance. Well, I'm still waiting for something akin to close to First Dawn of War, StarCraft or Warcraft, but that's just not coming. I was watching. Felt like there was a ton of RTS games in the new Gamescom. And it's like, oh, all of these nice RTS games, but nothing for me. Like every time, oh, this looks cool. Where's the combat? And there's no combat. Oh, fucking hell! Like,
You should
come
really
on.
give It Stares Back a shot. That game is fucking awesome, man. It's different.
I want
It's a
my
little-
I want my spiritual successor to StarCraft or Warcraft or fucking Command and Conquer. I love those games so much. But yeah,
I'd never played Command and Conquer. I really need to. Like, I'm gonna get the remastered edition if you think that's pretty good, and just go through all like Red Alert and stuff. Is that a
thing
good
is-
place to start?
the thing is, but for the first Command and Conquer, okay, let's get this out of the way because the music in the remaster it's phenomenal.
Mhm.
But and the game itself, it's pretty good. But you can tell the whole gameplay it is a bit dated at this point, and it can get really repetitive at times. But at least for me, because I played that game so much when I was a kid, so now I don't really play it that much, to be honest. But something like Warcraft 3 or Red Alert 2, that's my jam. That's like legit my jam. But like those games were just like as good as the first Red Alert was for me. It's the second game that really grabbed me by the balls, so to speak.
That's what most people are telling me, is that Red Alert 2 is like the Red Alert 2 and like Age 2 are kind of the golden children of that genre. I've never played any of these games, man. I played It Stares Back because I saw Cleveland like doing the artwork for it in a server that I hang out in. And I was like, that looks cool. What kind of game is that? I'd literally like never touched this genre before. I heard a lot about StarCraft, obviously, because of the esports and everything, but like I just was completely unaware. I feel like a total idiot. I'm supposed to be this like gaming podcast journalistic guy, and I don't know shit.
Well,
Outside of
a lot of people seem to think that at least I always felt like people who really like always seem to put the in RTS games put the multiplayer before. I know a lot of people don't, but like I almost got the feeling that a lot of people just appreciate the genre for the multiplayer, and I don't give a shit about the multiplayer, to be honest.
Me neither.
I want the single player / co-op experience. That's what I care. And I played StarCraft a bit online, but that's just not for me online. I didn't come for that that whole lot of fucking multitasking and so on. I came because I saw a bunch of Marines gunning down aliens, and I wanted to do that too. That's why I came. I came for the cool units and all the stuff like that. I have really I like my Alien knockoffs and Warhammer knockoffs because that's
You like
kind of what
XCOM?
it is in a way. What?
Do you like XCOM?
Nah, not really. Don't care much for turn-based stuff. Aside
Okay.
from Valkyria Chronicles, but that's a really special game to me. But aside from RTS games, I'm a huge, of course, because I really like survival horror. I've been playing a game called Tormented Souls lately.
Ooh, I'm looking
It's
that
pretty
up right
good.
now.
It does what fucking Capcom doesn't have the balls to do nowadays, and put somewhat fixed camera angles onto the game.
What's the name of it? Tormented Souls?
Tormented Souls. It's like it basically plays like the well, old school Resident Evil games. That's what it basically is.
It's
With
on
a
the
mix
wish
of-
list.
Yeah, it has a mix of Silent Hill to it, and there's like a lot of puzzles to it, to be honest. And there's few issues I have with the game, but still, like, that's good shit. That's
Did
a
you
game
give,
I could recommend.
Conscript to go?
No, I have not.
You might like it. It's top down, but it's very like Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I remember what was the game called again? Another top-down Resident Evil-like game, Darkwood, I think.
You guys are fucking my wish list up right now. What's it called? Dark what?
Yeah, Darkwood. That's another, like, people keep telling how good it is, and I
That sounds
got
like a
it.
porno.
But I don't know. Something about the top-down perspective just doesn't work for me. I tried. I did play it for a while, but I don't know. Something about it just didn't just click for me. But it is still a game I have a lot of respect for, and it is a game I would like recommend to other people. Like, at least take a look, like, if they like survival horror.
What about Darkadia? Have you seen that one?
The name doesn't ring a bell.
It's a Hellforge Studios just announced it recently, but it's
Oh, is that the survival horror game that was in the show too?
yeah, it was. I think it was shown off during the Hellforge showcase. I'm gonna be honest with you, like I didn't really get to watch all the trailers because I was like, doing the show.
Yeah, there
But,
was
yeah.
a lot of trailers.
But
Yes. I need
it
to
looks
look
really
tech-
cool. It's
Yeah,
a
I need to
GC
take a
Doom
look
engine
at it.
too.
I'm pretty sure I saw it. It has like I just have to. I would have to try it for myself.
Mhm.
If I recall, like was it made on the freaking GZ Doom or something?
Yeah, just said that like 2 seconds ago, you jackass.
Sorry,
I'm just fucking with you. I did,
Perkele.
but it's fine.
But yeah,
Perkele.
like I'm a bit iffy how that's gonna turn, like how it makes the game feel. But still, I still kind of want to try it because it might legit scratch that itch that I have. Because good survival horror games, for me at least, I can't really find them that much.
What about Total Chaos? That was in the GZ Doom engine.
Name doesn't ring a bell at all.
What? It's Turbo Overkill.
I know that game.
Yeah, so that's Sam Preble, same guy. He, before Turbo Overkill, obviously, made Total Chaos, which at the time was like the benchmark, like, along with Brutal Doom, but in a very different way, like the most impressive thing anybody had ever done with the Doom engine. And
Oh,
it's
is that the really impressive? Like that the really impressive? Like I have a hunch that I have seen it, but it's just I'm really fucking bad with names. So if you probably show the game to me, I could probably it's that game that I know.
yes.
That
Yeah.
There's a good chance it's one of those. I seem
It
to
kicks
recall
ass.
this one Doom Engine project that had a lot of like 3D models and shit, like that looked really impressive. I wonder if it's that.
Total Chaos, yeah. It looks. I mean, if someone didn't tell you it were Doom Engine and you didn't look into the files when you downloaded it, you would be like, "Wow, what a cool
yeah.
Unity game!"
It's probably that then, because I remember seeing an article about it a few years ago. It's just
Mhm.
like, holy shit, this is incredible. Mad respects to the guy for pulling it off.
It took him, only like, I don't know, 13 years or some crazy shit like that, but he did it.
Yeah.
And now he's kicking ass and taking names because Turbo Overkill just got picked up by Apogee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they put out the trailer pretty recently. I'm very proud of him. Sam's a great guy.
Yeah, that's always amazing. Like when you get something big like that going for you.
Especially because it seems like Apogee's kind of holding their cards close to the chest. They're not like it's not like they're putting out a million games. They're just like kind of all right, these are the ones that we believe in, holding it true, which I think is smart, honestly, especially for I guess Apogee's not a quote new company, but this revamping of Apogee is definitely a new business venture, and definitely don't want to spread yourself too thin too early.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because then you'll have to go get a corporate loan or something
Mm-hmm.
from somebody, sell them your balls.
Lol.
I'm just kidding. So, can you tell me anything about the future of like what you guys might do together? You mentioned you had a couple of different game ideas that were first-person shooters, but is that like a no-go conversationally or?
Well, yes.
I mean, yeah, sure, we can share some things.
Okay.
Everything is, of course, like a big question mark as to if it will happen. But we've been thinking about doing like an RPG type thing.
Oh, cool.
Maybe more in the vein of like Strife. A very, very action-oriented thing, but with like actual RPG stuff. So that's something. The other one is
I saw a weird dream, and I wanted to make it into a game. Then I just told Robert about it. And then
yeah,
let's do it.
yeah. So basically, this is kind of based on Mikko's idea. It's survival horror, of course, because he's the director of it.
Mhm.
But it's we're trying to make like a very mechanically focused survival horror game, if that makes sense. Where basically there's one core mechanic the whole game revolves around, kind of like something you'd see in DreadX or what's the other one? The Haunted PSX.
Haunted PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one really solid base core idea, but then expanded to like a 2 to 3 hour experience. It's very like we haven't done a lot with it. Of course, we've been busy on other stuff, but that's kind of what we're planning on right now.
It's funny you mentioned that because Dread XP is a really smart thing going on with it. They did, like 4 of those collections, and then kind of picked the best or what they thought was the best, I guess, from the heap, and turned them into full on games. Which I mean, great. It was kind of a win-win for everyone. But like Spookware, right? They went full out with that, and I think they've got a couple other ones that are pretty similar. But
yeah, it's been really cool. I think we talked last time about it too.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool concept, and of course it's great when you can make a quote unquote real game out of something you made for a jam.
Yeah, that's what jams are for, right? Or at least I think so.
Yeah.
Have you ever participated in jams?
Yeah, we've done a few. Like during university, we were we did some, or at least I did some Ludum Dares. I don't know about you, Mikko.
I only was with you and Hakira.
Oh, right, yeah. And we did some global game jam stuff also. So we've been in. I think I've been in like 4 or 5. Most of them were kind of middling. One was really great. It was a puzzle game we did for an event called Brains Eden in 2019.
We actually got some prizes from that.
Yeah. But I think it was also a good game. It's been like mostly just training for development, because this has been our main project for most of our time as game developers.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of fun to do some side stuff with a very strict deadline and kind of a goal.
How far off do you think White Hell is from completion at this point?
About halfway.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
halfway. That's good. So only like 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, if you extrapolate, yes. But I think I hope we'll get out of early access in like 9 months, something
One
like
baby.
that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So if I get my wife pregnant tonight, I can play White Hell and witness the birth of my child at the same time.
Yes, and then you can decide which one's the more memorable
Makes me
one.
happier.
Yeah.
Babe.
But yeah, so if you look at the levels, it's halfway done.
Yeah.
Or kinda. We got one secret level done of the 4, so a little under halfway. But there's of course a lot of other stuff we need to fix and improve. But also a lot of the groundwork has been laid, so now it's more about content than like the nitty-gritty programming stuff. We don't need to like make new systems that much. It's more just adding on to what's already there.
So when you feel like you're kind of, all right, I'm ready to rock with the programming side of things, are you both tackling the level design, or is that still kind of on you, Mikko?
I'm afraid it's mostly still just me. I mean, I always run through like the things with Robert, because there's like we have to like I do need that of like feedback, of course, back. And sometimes he just, because he usually gives an outsider perspective on things, because I usually, when I start making on a new level, like I'm working right now, it's just like I'm pretty much just seeing this stuff, like just this stuff all by myself. Then I just run through it every now and with Robert and ask like his opinion on things, and he just gives me really good feedback on things, and just things I might not see. So I'm really glad that I do get that feedback. Otherwise, the levels wouldn't be nearly as good, I think. But still, it's mostly me.
So,
yeah. There's been some levels where I've been like, I've made a general outline, like, hey, it would be cool if we made this, and then Mikko has built some kind of a sketch thing, and then we've kind of back and forth gone with it until it's been good.
is it a concept that you see yourself like revisiting, like kind of making Yarmo's adventures into a franchise, or is it just like one and done for you at this point?
We have no plans of continuing because we have like a pretty good outline of the story and the plot of the game, and it doesn't really feel like it needs to continue after the events of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not.
Yeah, it's not the it's weird because there are a lot of kind of similar games coming out right now that have this sort of character-driven thing going on, like a kind of a Duke Nukem-ish influence, where it's about being the protagonist more so than it's about just necessarily the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like Viscera Fest is a good example, or our game Stellar Valkyrie is another one that's like it's basically the game is a vessel for me to have our voice actor tell hilarious bird puns the whole time. Like that's what I want anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yarmo's kind of silent, and I don't know. It's hard to tell people's intentions.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of on purpose more a Gordon Freeman type character.
Okay.
Just doing what he does and then just gets into trouble. So I don't think he really needs more characterization than there is in the game already.
Yeah, I don't disagree. To
Yeah,
me, it's just, like,
because it's
badass.
more about the world that you're in, and I don't know. I've never been a big fan of like the build engine games. I just don't really care for that kind of stuff. So of course I didn't really take that as an inspiration when we started making the game. So but I was a really big fan of like Half-Life and then the original Dooms. So that's kind of the direction we went with.
Yeah, it's a good
For me,
hybrid
it's,
because clearly it's not the case for you, Miko. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like if it's like we would really have to put like some thought. Let's say if he had one-liners and stuff like that, it would really have to be something super Finnish, and the voice acting it should really, like, in my opinion, it should really just sound like we have this term for rally English in Finland. It's basically speaking English with a very Finnish accent. And it's just like, I don't know if the jokes and all, if they would even like, if they would hit with most people even.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a bit iffy as a whole. So it's a bit. I think it's really good how things are at the moment.
Yeah, and about like the Duke Nukem and Blood influence and that kind of stuff, I think it comes through the level design more so.
For sure.
Because although I don't really like the build games in, let's say I have problems with the movement in those games and kind of the characters. But the levels are great, and they have a really good like pre-Half-Life level of detail and feel of a real place. And I think Mikko has captured that really well for our game. Like that, very, very gameplay focused, but just enough real world stuff in there, or like actual stuff in the game world that makes it feel not a video game level.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
That's why I like Focus as well, because I like levels like that feel actual places, and I want the levels to feel like actual places. That's why each time I make a new room, it's just like I first thing I go through is like, okay, let's take the airship level for example that I've been working on. It's just like I have a ton of rooms. Okay, what's this room supposed to be? Oh, this must be the dining area. Oh, this must be the barracks, and so on and so on and so on. Because I do like that. I have this like idea that people actually in each level that they actually they go about their things daily there. It's just really important for me, and it inspires me a lot as well. And I like to think that my very latest level 11, it's gonna be, at least for me, it's gonna be something really special. So, perkele phone. But yeah, like
It's your mom. Answer it.
no, it's actually my dad.
Oh, well, answer it still.
Yeah, I can't be.
Let's have your dad on the podcast.
But like, it's like when people sure, it's a fast-paced game, and you move through the world pretty fast, and it's important like it works that way. Of course, I want it to like be like that. That's why I don't overly try and not to do like go overboard with the props, so to speak, and so on, because it really needs to work as a video like a level as well. But if someone just takes this time and stops to look at things, I like things to be pretty. And with the next upcoming level that we just posted some screenshots, I like to think it's gonna be my coolest level yet, at least in terms how it feels and so on. If you can guess what I mean, like the atmosphere, basically.
I think you've really knocked it out of the park so far. Everything that I've played, anyway. It's probably to me the strongest part of the game is in fact the level design. It's so like immersive, while still being really cartoony and like retro looking and everything. It just feels like, man, what a cool world I'm existing in.
Oh yeah.
Granted, I've never been to Finland, so I can't compare it to.
Yeah, but also about then.
I'll come visit you guys next year, though.
What?
What?
You asked something? Sorry.
No, I said I'll come visit you guys next year.
Ah, sorry, I misheard. But yeah, like the thing is, I still wonder how people are gonna react to it. Like people who like let's say don't know where the game is going at the moment, and it's basically okay. Now it's all this. It's the whole game has been this snowy capped area, and then suddenly poof, everything is super green. There's mushrooms here. There's trees. There's wooden structures up ahead. There's taverns. There's like, what the hell is this? But I really like that whole idea because it kind of reminds me of few things I really like about very few games that actually managed to pull it off. It's basically like it's a pacing thing, because first like you reach this sort of midpoint of the game in a game. So like let's take a good example, the first Witcher game. I love that, but I
love the first Witcher game.
Yeah, like when you reach that at some point you reach like this really big climax, and you're almost about to die, but then suddenly you just get teleported from all the political stuff that goes in the cities and so on.
Yep.
You suddenly get teleported to this really backwater village, and everything is just super relaxed, and you do some casual monster hunting, and it's just so totally different. But it's just like it feels like taking a break after really like extensive work day, so to speak.
Yeah, back when CDPR was like young and innocent. God, those days are over. But yeah, like the scene where you kind of get to the area where the Lady of the Lake is and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly like the feeling you get when you reach that place. Just holy shit! It's
amazing. I actually I preferred the combat system in The Witcher 1.
A fellow man of culture. What is this?
Witcher 2, it was still good, but like kind of just threw it like in the trash. I'm like, what the fuck? It was so good.
Witcher 2 is a weird game.
Yeah, it is.
The story is fucking great. I really like what they did with it, but mechanically it's just all over the place. It tries like it tries reinventing everything from the first one, and just kind of, I don't think it really does a great job with most of it.
Well, to me, it was the sword fighting that really took a toll. I mean, like they actually recaptured, I think, the Witcher 1's fighting style a little better in Witcher 3, but yeah, Witcher 1's sword fighting was like the best part of the game to me. And
yeah, it's like, I understand why people think it's super clunky, because it, like, if you actually have to, you know, aside from clicking, if you actually have to start dodging stuff, it does get it does get really clunky. There's no getting around that. But holy shit, that feel you get when you, like, let's say you run into a group of mobs, you turn on the group style, you start doing the combat, you just watch Geralt just spin around like a fucking maniac, and heads just, and arms start fucking rolling all over the place. It's just, it really makes you feel like you're this really super elite fighter. But like in Witcher 2, I really hated it, because what do you get in Witcher 2 when you start swinging your sword? Or here's some generic swings.
Yeah.
And you feel like an average swordsman.
You feel like less in control of it too. It's like,
yeah,
it's
like
immersive.
bad Dark Souls. The combat in Witcher 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I always like to think, each time I revisit that game, I like to think that I have always like misunderstood the game. And someday, some magical day, the game is gonna click with me. Because a lot of people still say it's a really good game, so...
It is. It is really still a good game.
Yeah,
just,
people, like, they did put that like super hard mode for some reason there. So I like to think that someday I'll fucking get actually good at that game.
Like, The Witcher 2 is like being the bass player for Van Halen. You know what I mean? Like it's still a really good game, but it's between The Witcher 1 and The Witcher 3. Like, come on. Like, how are you gonna...
Also expect Witcher references in level 11.
Yeah, we're going full fantasy on this, so of course it's gonna be just Witcher and Warcraft.
Now that I think about it, I can't even remember the bass player for Van Halen's name, and I promise you I can name every other member of the band.
Yeah.
His name, like, Michael something? I don't see. Fuck him. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments.
Yeah.
If you're standing between Edward Van Halen and David Lee Roth, how is anybody going to remember your name?
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. That's a really good kind of comparison. And also, like, I have a stupid amount of hours in The Witcher between my PlayStation and PC. What else? Are there any other kind of similar things that stand out to you that are influences?
Well, probably like like Robert said, Warcraft, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not really I'm people who actually play World of Warcraft. I'm not trying to turn the whole like world into like into Super Warcraft. I want it to be its own thing, but like it's just the fact that because everything is there's so much color to it, and I really like that. So it might keep those vibes and so on.
Yeah,
and I'm totally fine with that. I like that because I do like the art style a lot, and it is something I might like occasionally look when I'm doing single props, but still it has to be its own thing and not just someone put this, like, they did this because they like the art style, you know. I do want it to feel its own thing. And
we're friends on Discord. I know how much you play World of Warcraft.
Shut up. But
I feel like every time I talk to you, it's like you're not really talking to me. You're actually just playing World of Warcraft while we chat. But are you playing World of Warcraft right now?
No, I'm not. I was playing it right before this, though. I can admit that much.
I do know that also because I was messaging you and I was like, oh, he's playing World of Warcraft again. I've never played any Warcraft game.
Me neither.
I took one look at all the people that I knew who were playing World of Warcraft, and I was like, I
Play
have shit to do.
Warcraft 3. If you can't play Warcraft 3, the OG one, of course.
Is that
That's
is
the
it
one
to
where
play?
they botched the fucking remaster.
Oh.
But
Well,
still,
if I was gonna play one, which one would I play?
Warcraft 3.
Like, how do I get it? GOG?
I'm pretty sure that's like unless you can score a physical copy. I'm afraid the best bet is the fucking Reforged, but like it is still good time. Like especially if you're someone who has never touched it and you like a RTS RPG hybrid in a way. So that is a game I can definitely recommend because the OG Warcraft 3 is still hell of a lot of good time. Warcraft 2, that's like one of my that might be my favorite, but like it, let's just say it is old and you can tell it like the gameplay hasn't aged that well, but still there's something really charming about it all. I can't really just explain it. But Warcraft 3 is the one I'd recommend above everything else because it has a good story. The gameplay is awesome. Yes.
I mean, is it just a straight up RPG or?
Nah, it's like an RTS that has basically hero units that can level up.
Oh, yeah. See, I've never touched that shit. I mean, as far as that, like World of Warcraft is a MMORPG, right?
Yeah, that it is a different beast on its own.
Okay. Yeah, you're punching out of my league, man. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, but I do think Warcraft 3 is something everybody can jump into.
Huh. Okay. Well, I'll try to get my hands into that pot at some point. You have to keep me honest, though.
Of course.
So what's I guess like what's the next logical step for you guys? Like, so come out of early access, we get the full game White Hell. Are you developing these other ideas of yours simultaneously, or?
Sorry for disrupting you.
You're fine.
We have how it looks at the moment. Like this, of course, everything can change. But how it looks at the moment is that once we finish White Hell, we're gonna focus on that survival horror game because it's something entirely it is different. Visually, it is a bit similar, but it still is a bit different. But gameplay wise, it's just something we can that probably doesn't take as long to us to figure out as White Hell. It's not a huge project, but it's something that might be refreshing and relatively easy to do. But still, of course, the gameplay is something that we have no idea how it's gonna work out because we have no prototypes or anything. But that's likely what we're gonna do next.
Can I play the prototype when you're done?
Sure.
Cool.
After that, it's pretty much. I think if things keep going well, we're likely gonna look at that RPG project because that has both of us really excited.
Yeah, and it's also gonna be like a bigger thing. Of course, we're not gonna make a fucking Witcher level thing, but it's gonna be like a longer game than the horror thing.
Nah, dude. When Damian, we sat down to discuss like the Call of Sir Ragnar being part of In the Keep and everything, and he showed me like all of the shit that makes up the world of what is Call of Sir Ragnar, and I was just like, he shows me like this giant, like Tolkien-esque world map, and I'm like, where does the story take place? And he's just like, oh, and then he zooms in, and it's like just this little county-sized area, and I'm just like, can we just focus on that for now?
Yeah, we don't have anything like that planned at the moment. we already know we're not gonna like overblow the fucking thing out of the hands. It's
Just from the beginning, we're trying to make something more focused. Like, Strife is a very good example for it because it's got those RPG things, but it's also very close to a retro shooter.
Yeah, Strife is an interesting fucking game. Like, still,
Yeah.
I've played the Night Dive Kex Engine re-release of it, and I liked it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It's obviously got a lot to, from the modern gaze that could be improved upon, but for the time, it's just like, this is fun. I like all the weird, like the weird, like kind of like cyberpunk robot enemies that like, why do you exist in this world?
Oh yeah, that's so like, it's kind of bizarre, but it's so cool. And it's really memorable at the same time.
Yeah. Remind me next time I talk to Tim Willits, I need to like dig into that. Like, what were you guys thinking? What is this? But also it's an immersive kind of thing.
But also in terms of that RPG, well, it is easy to like. It is gonna be, I think, retroish, but it's kind of not that retroish. Like, I'm not even sure if we're gonna go for that, like that basic pixelated look at that point. I mean, we have a very specific game at mind when we think about the art at the moment, and it's let's just say it's not that old. Well, it is old now, but it's not like what do you think, Robert? How old was it again?
Well, it's like a mid 2000s thing, the PS2 style.
Yeah, pretty much that.
So kind of going forward in time, but also backwards. I don't know.
Yeah, and we probably actually have to, like, when it comes to it, we gotta, at least the idea is that we could like maybe get a few more people to it. I would really like to stop being a jack of all trades at some point.
Yeah,
as much as I enjoy it, it's
artist, the level designer, the 3D modeler, the
animator, and so on and so on. It's like I have enough on my plate as it is. I would like to share those responsibilities. That's why it's good that actually while we do White Hell, we have Anza. Like he's the second artist. He keeps helping me with a lot of little stuff, and I can't just stress how nice it is to have someone like that on board.
Yeah, we just we needed an extra pair of hands to do code for Call of Ragnar, and we picked up a Dangerous Dave, which he's amazing. But then he's like, we're sitting down one night, and he just starts showing me like some of his personal game projects, and I'm like, dude, why are you like his 3D models are like fucking amazing. I'm just like, God, is there anything you can't do, man? And then within like a week, I'm just like trying to think of anything else I can put him to work on. I'm like, God damn, it's too much raw talent. How are you undiscovered? It feels like kind of it's like finding gold in a river. You're like, oh, there's more here.
Yeah, I'd like to, focus on 3D more as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But also, I really like level design at the same time, I like the fact that if I like White Hell, for example, if I need some asset, I can just make it myself because I have a vision how the world should look, and I can just make all that stuff myself.
It is difficult, like wearing multiple hats,
Yeah,
it
is.
Because you're right. If you need something, it's like that old saying, like if you want something done right, do it yourself. But you can't do everything.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I would really like to have more people when we go to that RPG project, because it is. I like to think it's a bit bigger in some areas than White Hell. So.
Well, let me publish a few games, and then I'll if I make a lot of money, we'll talk. Hopefully, it'll take you guys a while anyway. At least one baby for now. To get there. Maybe two babies if you have to do the survival horror game first.
But the idea is that we we do know, like we have to keep the scope realistic.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that has to be consistent.
Very mature of you to say.
Yeah, well, I've been following like game dev stuff for a long time before getting into it myself, and it's really like fascinating to see people who get actual money from like publishers and investors and that kind of stuff, and then just go like, hey, we're gonna make a game where you can go to every planet in the fucking universe and it's gonna be great. And then there's no one going like, hey, maybe you don't have the resources for that, maybe you should just make like 2 planets be very good. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
guess it's good to take lessons, but it's also really, really fascinating to like see how people can lose focus and lose that kind of I don't know if it's like a feeling of I can do everything kind of hubris thing, but I don't know. It's interesting.
So yeah, like scope is always, I think, to some extent overlooked part of any game, and even in the regards to games that are supposed to have a huge scope in the first place. It's like there's a point of diminishing returns when it can get to like, how do you make this perform, or how do you have enough people to create it within a reasonable amount of time, or anything. And I agree, it's like you can't wear all the hats to do that. But
Yep.
Yeah.
I can
And
think
I
of like
think
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, I can think of like a million examples of people who had an idea with a lot of scope to it, but never really considered the amount of work that goes into creating that, or the amount of time that has to be spent on it.
Yeah. I can understand it with indies, because with indies it's like you're new to the industry, you don't know what you're doing, so you might start working on something and then just later realize like, hey, this shit ain't gonna work. But I've been taking Kickstarter money for a year now, or Patreon or whatever, so I'm gonna have to deliver something, and then it all comes crashing down because you just literally can't. So but it's really weird with like bigger companies to see that kind of stuff happening, and a lot of it is probably due to like very constricting deadlines and all kinds of agreements with investors and that kind of stuff. One good example I think would be actually with Witcher 2, where the last level, Lokmuin, is just an empty piece of shit. Like, there's some really good stuff in there, but it's just
Let's wrap the whole
feels
game up.
really unfinished.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. Totally agreed. The area looks like shit. It just feels like, okay, let's just wrap this thing out. Okay, we're done. We're done here.
Yeah.
It's true though, and I mean, a lot of people end up in that situation where it's just like, why is the climax of the game just the least exciting part of it?
Yeah, because we didn't have time to make it. That's usually the case. But yeah, I don't know. So I guess I've learned that lesson. At least I feel like I have, and therefore, like, I'm always trying to think about, okay, how much can I add like detail to any idea or mechanic or anything in the game, so that we can make it on some kind of a schedule, and that it's gonna be good enough for the whole game, or like in comparison to other parts in the game. Yeah, it's interesting.
there were I remember when Scumhead was originally getting ready to make Vomitorium, like it'd been something that was on his mind for a long time. But while that was sitting on the back of his head, he just continued to make a bunch of other games, and one of them was like Lycanthorn 2. And Lycanthorn 2 experimented with the kind of open world, almost like Metroidvania-esque level design. And he waited until he had proved to himself that he could, in fact, do that before he took on the task of making Vomitorium, which I think was really smart. Maybe it wasn't even planned; it was just like how it worked out. But it prevented him from digging into what he would ultimately say is like, this is the project that I've been thinking about for years, and then just like not knowing what to do and being on a shitty deadline, because he turned the Vomitorium over pretty fast. Overall.
Yeah, he's been churning out games really quickly.
But he knows what he's doing, and
yeah, and I think it worked because I played Lycanthorn 2 and also Vomitorium, and yeah, you can really see like how they have influenced one another, or like you can see that's actually one reason I like to play games in order of release, because then you can see like these ideas that grow. And if they're developed by the same people, you can see how they like struggled with something with this game, but then they made it better in the next one. And yeah, it's really cool to see how Scumhead's stuff has grown over the years.
What did you think of Vomitorium overall? You don't have to be polite if you don't want to, but
yeah, I really like his like visual style. I think the crunchy, like kind of MS Paint looking stuff, but actually cool and fucked up.
Yeah,
I really like it. The gameplay is really fun. I'd say the bosses are pretty weak.
I agree. Yeah, I really don't like that every boss fight is just a bullet sponge. I get that that's not important, like that's not really what the game's about necessarily, but it just didn't feel like I ever had to think at all during
it's I think the games are mostly like, especially Vomitorium, because it has a lot of like Dark Souls influence. I feel like its focus is on the atmosphere of the levels, which I think is very nice. There's a lot of like really cool vistas and just the feeling of being in that world is pretty cool. But still, if your kind of main goal is to fight these, 3 big bosses and then the final one, then it kind of feels like they should be something more than just bigger enemies with more health and can be beaten by running around in a circle. But yeah, I don't know if it's a limitation of the engine, because it's made in GZ Doom, and the AI script or the AI stuff in GZ Basic Doom is very bare bones. I would know. I have basically the same stuff in White Hell. But yeah, or just make the bosses like more levels where there's a bigger enemy in the end.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that it's a limitation of the engine, because I've seen plenty of pretty impressive boss fights built in the Doom engine, but it's just not like, A, it's not his main focus, and B, it's just he hasn't got there yet. And it probably could. Mango did a really excellent job in, I think, Shrine 2, making that final boss pretty interesting. But that's, he needed someone who could make the boss fights kick ass and not just like be this sponge thing. And I just don't think they quite got there with most of the boss stuff in Vomitorium.
Yeah, but it's also like, as I said earlier, the games have clearly gone up in quality from Shrine 2 to now. So I'm very excited to see what he's gonna do next.
Yeah, he's working on Stellar Valkyrie. He's the art director, and he actually came up with like the concept of the game in general. But Ubergawai is the programmer and primary level designer, and I think that the two of them together will. I mean, I hope I'm kind of hedging my bets on it. I think from what I've seen so far, they're going to kick ass and take names because it's like you take somebody like Scumhead, who's an incredible artist. Like he's just really gets it. His visual style is his. It's recognizable. It's just his thing. And Uber is a fucking genius programmer. Like maybe not as good as you, projab, but
well, I'm not gonna say anything about my skills in programming.
The things that guy can do with like Z-Daemon are just like, what? How? Like you take this old, like not even like GZ Doom is like way more open. Like he could do things with Z-Daemon that just bend my mind. I'm like, I don't get it. He would do these Christmas maps, and then like in the skybox, like you're like playing as a toy on a table, and then there's giant imps like walking around and opening doors and shit, and you realize that they're aware of you, or maybe they're not. Maybe it's just a trick on the mind. But like, holy shit, why?
Yeah.
Why are you not getting paid?
Yeah, but I'm really interested in what he's gonna do next.
Yeah.
Of course, Stellar Valkyrie, but also his personal projects.
Yeah, he's got one brewing up right now that I think is going to be really cool too. I don't want to, I'll have him on to talk about that at some point. But
yeah.
The kid's he's very, very promising. I admire him. That's kind of what I do, is try to surround myself with people who I genuinely just think like, wow, you are talented. You've got a special thing going on.
Yeah.
Like you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're good. Like you have a really, you both have like sort of like not always in alignment, but like individual thought processes and admirations of different things that when you put it together, just you have a beautifully atmospheric game and you have great gameplay. It took you a little while to kind of get the systems down from what I understand, but I look forward to jumping in there and trying it myself again now that it's been updated. And mostly it's just like how you guys both seem to coincide in telling a story, and I think that's very important. You don't want to end up with like a dev team of people who can't agree on what's the message we're trying to send. Yeah. You can fuck up a lot of other things, but you can't fuck up the underlying kind of feeling that you're trying to invoke in someone. So I think
that's something that
nailed it.
I really do appreciate this thing between me and Robert. To be honest, it's just the fact that we have like our opinions on a lot of things, but it's still like we always find that the way that we should go forward that we both can agree on, because I think it's good that we don't agree on every single thing, because we really need sometimes that we need that input from the other one, because we have different perspectives on things, but we can still like agree a lot of good like things. I don't know, it's this whole thing I think it just works really well how I see it.
Yeah.
What have you guys been like working out on the marketing end, if anything at all?
Post one thing on Twitter per week and then just leave it. I don't know. It's been very, very...
We've been sending keys to some influencers, that's for sure.
Yeah,
sure. Some like... Well, Civi did the Realms Deep roundup thing.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really liked that video.
It was cool.
He said my name. I messaged Mikko as soon as I saw it, and I thought I was going to cry. He's like, he said my name.
Yeah.
We revived the sewer count.
Yes, we can take pride in that.
Yeah. But and there's been some other people who we've sent keys to and who might do some things.
Yeah, I figured G-Man would really be into this. Like, it seems like the kind of game that he would enjoy.
It's funny. When we first published the demo, he was there in our Discord. Yeah. He came to give us feedback. He said he really enjoyed the game. back when the first demo came out. So
He might do something. I don't know.
Yeah, we did give him a key. So
yeah. But that's gonna happen if it happens. I don't know.
What about Icarus? Have you talked to him?
Yes, we sent him a key as well.
That's good. Yeah.
And I was actually watching him stream the game. Yeah, it let's just say it was an experience. It's funny because he still had that habit of playing the game how it used to play back in the day.
Yeah.
And he had to adjust a bit to, to play the game like how it plays nowadays. It was hard, let's just say that. Well, like for, at least hard for, like, I think it's just trying to get out of a habit. Playing the same game, but suddenly you have to play it so differently. It's like installing a Stalker mod that plays whole differently. It just takes a while to adjust to it.
He's one of my favorite people to watch, period, because you can tell that the sheer amount of hours he puts into playing Doom has an effect on his interpretation of other games.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
Whereas, people have like a specialization that they get into and then they kind of like that's what they're used to. That's what they're good at. And then when they branch out of it, it's just like, oh, I got to learn something different. Fuck.
I like him too.
Yeah.
I fucking love Mr. Icarus, man. Like I've been trying to talk him into doing an interview forever. He's just not that kind of like public speaker kind of person, I guess, from what I can tell. But maybe someday he'll come out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and our game is like from the base mechanics are very, very much like Doom. So if you started to play it, especially in the demo version, you would get the hang of things very quickly. It's basically just 3D Doom.
Mm-hmm.
But with the scissor system and all kinds of other things, it might take a while to get the hang of it if you're just like trying to play it as like Doom 1 or 2 or Quake or something.
Yeah, that's what makes it stand out. And I'm glad that you guys have apparently, it's still untested, but I'm glad that you figured out how to make it like really mesh with the gameplay itself.
Yeah.
Because for us, it works really well, but I guess we'll see what people actually have to say long term about it. But so far, everything seems to go really positive, so I'm really happy about that.
This has been really fucking fun, guys.
Yeah.
We should do this regularly. Like, keep me honest. every couple of months or so, hit me back, and we'll have to keep naming them like really interesting things. Like, so there's like, I think I told Hockey to this too. If like you're gonna keep coming on, we have to keep coming up with new names for the episode. So first one's like you name of game, and then it's like Projab and Migo ride again, and then like the last ride, and then goes to space.
Yeah.
White Hell rides again.
Yes, White Hell rides again. Which could be the sequel to the game.
Yeah.
It's better than what did I name this? 2 Electric Boogaloo is the name of the chat we're in right now.
Yeah.
I actually just typed in White Hell at first and it said, you already have a podcast called that. I'm like, how the fuck do you know? Zencaster, you son of a bitch. But yeah, man. You guys are always a blast, and I really look forward to not just the rest of White Hell, but also everything that you've told me so far and what you're gonna be doing in the future together as a team or even individually or whatever the fuck. You guys are amazing.
To be honest, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Let's wrap this bitch up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye. The music that you are currently hearing is, in fact, the soundtrack to White Hell, and it is also, in fact, by Hakita. Yes, that Hakita from Ultra Kill. Maybe you've heard of him. Thank you to Mikko and to Projab for being part of the show again. It's freaking awesome to just catch up with those guys. I always really love hearing their thoughts on games in general. Like, they just have such a both different but like equally pragmatic and intelligent way of dissecting what they do and don't like about games, and I learn a lot from it every time. Just as a reminder, if you like this show, If you like In the Keep in general, you want to be part of the community, or you want to hear more stuff like it, head over to inthekeep.com. It's all there. We love you. The Drowned Gakathala loves you. And until next time, stay in the keep.